Richard Crouse.
Well, I mean, you've always been politically involved, but it seems to me in recent years that has increased more, or maybe you've just been more vocal about it. Is that fair to say?
Well, it depends on how recent you meant.
Well, I'm saying the last 15, 20 years. I mean, that's
well. If we go back to '80, that's when I started going down to Nicaragua, and it was. I beg your pardon?
El Salvador in the
Yes, in El Salvador in the '60s.
60s, late 60s.
No, I never did. It would have to be the early '70s.
Yeah.
Because in the '60s, I was still a janitor. No, I had come from a military background and 5 years in the Army before I got there, and my view of the world politics changed a lot in the time that I was there, particularly when I was working as a helicopter pilot on the offshore oil rigs, and the young 19-year-old pilots were coming back from Vietnam, and they couldn't even fly yet. They were so inexperienced, and I heard so many tales of really horrible stuff, like throwing people out of helicopters that they're interrogating and kicking their hands off the skids, and I generally came to view that is inhuman, whatever your politics are, you shouldn't get your guys' hands off the skids of a helicopter. So I think I got more and more, the more that I got into studying it, I got more politically to the left. I still hate politics. I still will probably be telling the truth as much as I can when they throw dirt on me.
Well, I think it's interesting that your time in the service directly kind of shapes the way that you. Okay. Can you hear me better? That your time in the service directly shapes your political views from later on. Kris Kristofferson is my mic stand. Yeah, awesome.
Well, I was a Ranger and airborne,
yeah.
and helicopter pilot, and my father was a military man, and my grandparents, both sides, were military. But I'm definitely. I don't blame the military. I blame the people that are sending them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I'm going to work this back into your film career.
I just want to say something.
Sure.
If you notice, the people that are pushing military action the most these days are the so-called neocons, neoconservatives. None of them have ever been in the military. None of them ever wore a uniform. This is
here's the thing. As a Canadian with American parents, but I grew up here, I follow American politics, and when John Kerry was being pushed aside, a genuine war hero was being pushed aside, and his war record was being challenged by George Bush, who never went to war, it didn't really make sense to me.
No.
Give me the American perspective, because I don't get it.
It makes less sense today. It's getting crazier by the minute. I worry about it for my kids and everything, but I'm not going to have to deal with it much longer.
Well, you mentioned the Rangers, and I'm going to sort of bring it back to the film career. I wanted to talk about A Star Is Born, and the quote that I have from you. And again, who knows? I pull a lot of this off the internet. We don't know whether it's all true. Working with Barbra Streisand is an experience that may have cured me of movies. It was like Ranger School. Is what you said.
I'll tell you what, I feel a real debt of gratitude to Barbara because she allowed me to argue with her. And she was the director and the producer and everything of that thing. And she was fair about changing her mind. And Ranger School never felt like being in a bathtub with her.
Well, it was kind of interesting because as I was recently watching a movie called Crazy Heart, I thought of A Star Is Born, different milieu, different idea a little bit, but you're still same kind of central character. And I know that you've seen Crazy Heart. The director Scott Cooper, told me that at a private screening that you cried at Crazy Heart.
Well, I was not crying at Crazy Heart, unfortunately. Well, I mean, I think they did a fine job if they want. But I was there watching it with Stephen Bruton, who was my guitar player, and he was dying, and they were playing it for him so he would do the music, which he ended up doing.
Yeah.
But no, I can't even remember what the film was about.
Right.
It was so traumatic for me at the time.
Right. Country singer on the road. I mean, I just, as I watched it, I just thought that he hit a lot of the notes that made it feel completely authentic about a musician being on the road. And I thought perhaps
I thought Jeff's music in it was the best part of it. I thought he did a really good job of that. But as far as people saying he was channeling me, well,
that's kind of where I was going.
He was kind of like a big fat loser drunk. And I got a bunch of kids and everything. I didn't feel the identification with the character anymore. But I think Jeff's a great actor, and I worked with him on Heaven's Gate.
That's right, on Heaven's Gate. And he's going to win the Academy Award this year.
Probably.
For Crazy Heart. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
And I'll be having to live up to that. Jeff's Bridges story. And he's going to be a drunk. No, I really respect him as an actor. I have done. And ever since that first film I saw him in, a Fat City.
Yeah.
I thought he looked like my younger brother. So.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I lived through the part that he played in this movie.
Richard Crouse.